If you tend to planche when you handstand and you want to fix this, this is the video for you. Planching in handstand refers to where we're going to bring our shoulders in comparison to our hands. When we planche, we're bringing our shoulders over the fingers instead of keeping those shoulders stacked over the center of the hands or the wrist line. In handstands, things are not black or white. And so planching is neither right nor wrong, but if you naturally do it, you will stall your progress. Understand this, planching is almost always intertwined with a lower body position in which pelvis and or legs are before vertical, underbalanced. And our legs and our pelvis are dragging us down, therefore, towards the floor. It is in this position the upper body strength we can muster up by leaning the shoulders forward that allows us to fight against gravity and against this lower body dragging us down. This is not the most efficient position, and it relies on a certain strength tank. The stronger you are, the longer you will be able to balance that, but there will be a limit after which you will just run out of gas. Importantly, if you hold a couple of sets planched, you will quickly exhaust yourself and get too tired to do much in the rest of your session. On the contrary, in the Handstand Academy, we define a more functional alignment as something that is more overshot, in which some part of the lower body is past vertical, allowing your fingers to be the main thing that allows you to balance, relying less on upper body strength and more on proper technique. In the planche, we make up for a dysfunctional alignment by using our strength. And this overshadows what the fingers can be doing. And this is one of the reasons why you will plateau if you allow yourself to planche too long. You will not teach your fingers to do their job because you will not have recognized what they should do when your alignment is better overshot, once your shoulders are better stacked. There are two types of people who will planche on their handstand journey. Beginners and improvers who planche by default. When it's time to balance, either at the wall or off the wall, they simply planche because this is where their shoulders naturally go. Either because they're super strong and they know they can tap into that strength when it's time to balance and stabilize, or because they have super flexible wrists and when they kick up, they simply lean forward without any other choice. But more advanced students who are working on their press handstands will find that planching is actually a very valuable tool. Developing this control allows you to refine your alignment while upside down, allows you to increase your consistency and your duration because your strength will make up for some of the mistakes you will make as you balance, and is an important part of the pressing process. Now, the more flexible you are in the press, the less you need to planche, but a bit of strength in the upper body, or a lot of it, allows you to fight against gravity as you peel your feet off the floor into your handstand, which is precisely what the press is about. And there will be more videos for those of you who are chasing the press, but the rest of this video addresses the first scenario, where you planche but you would like not to, or you planche and you want to make sure that you don't get stuck in that planching jail. Now, I like to say to my students, planching is a superpower. Do not demonize it. The very fact that you have this awareness and this upper body strength and the wrist flexibility that allows for it is great when it's time to save a handstand that is falling back down to the floor. It also allowed you to get where you are at right now. You would not be able to balance as well and as frequently if you didn't have this upper body strength. So fantastic news, you have it. We just want to make sure that this tool is one out of many you can use and that you know which tool to use in which context, rather than over-relying on it at the expense of the others. You will find that we encounter two scenarios when it comes to planching. Either you kick up, and as you kick up, your wrists extend, your shoulders go forward, and you find yourself in this planche position that doesn't allow the lower body to place itself properly. Planching hates an overshot lower body, which gets you stuck in the planche position, lower body undershot, upper body overshot. Sometimes, on the contrary, the stars align and you actually stick it properly with the shoulders better stacked with the lower body where you want it to be. But as you balance, you end up eventually making a mistake. You fall back underbalanced, and here your shoulders come to the rescue, planche forward, and fight against gravity, trying to recover from that fall. This is the scenario for which we want to keep that planching power. This is exactly where you should be doing it. However, you want to learn to be doing it early and with the smallest amount possible, so that again, planching becomes a recovery tool, a last resort scenario, not something you do by default. Planching is both a blessing, because it allows you to save falling handstands, and a curse, because you will tend to do that and only that. To solve this problem, we're going to use a step-by-step process that can be adapted to many other scenarios in handstands and that I use with my own students myself online. Before you try to fix something, bouncing back on what we said in the previous video, you have to feel what you're doing. Out of the 8 pillars of hand balancing that you have to work on to get to your freestanding freedom standard, that is 15 seconds on demand in the middle of the room with a good alignment, you have to hone your body awareness. Body awareness is the most important of those pillars, and one that we work on very little, because we love those drills that just make us sweat, even if they're drafty. Instead of spending time being upside down, not trying to balance, not trying to do anything flashy, but feeling how our body is and understanding the consequences of our alignment and what we do with our fingers on our capacity to balance. Those drills pay off. They don't look like much. You won't impress anyone doing them. And actually, looking at you from outside, it may be hard for us to see exactly what you're doing. But these are some of the most important things you can do, and you should integrate them at the end of your warm-up and before the main part of your training session. I can tell you that much. Most of my students who planch by default don't even know that they're planching when they're upside down. And only when they record themselves do they realize that. So, step 1, record yourself whenever you balance, whenever you have a good hold, either at the wall or in the middle of the room, and see what your shoulders naturally do and what that triggers to your lower body. Then, I want you to be able to go chest to the wall and take off by planching and without planching. And what I usually see instead of that is a soup. Whenever I ask the person to not planch, they planch. And whenever I ask them to planch, they also move the lower body. Remember this, when we planch, shoulders go forward, lower body trails backwards. When on the contrary, we are in a better alignment, something like the pelvis or one leg in the lower body moves forward, the shoulders stay behind, stacked. So you want to go chest to the wall and be able, in different sets at first, to take off in the planche position and to take off in a more functional position. Eventually, you want to be able to do those two things within one same set, which is the proof that you exactly know what distinguishes good technique from planche technique. If you struggle to balance there, keep one foot on the wall. It's absolutely fine. As long as your foot is light on the wall, you will learn everything you need to learn and feel very similar sensations. If you have that chest to the wall, you can do the same back to the wall. Problem, you have to be a bit further from the wall, because otherwise, as you planche, your head just bangs against the wall. And you need a lot of that before you can hope to maximize the drills in which you are asked to correct the planche. That is, to take off in a desirable stacked alignment and go into your normal planche, or on the contrary, to planche off the wall and correct this into what you want to see happen when you balance in the middle of the room. You have to understand that those corrective drills that we do when we balance are some of the hardest drills there is out there. And what everybody does once they understand that they're planching and they wish to stop is that they rush their way to that, but they haven't acquired the proper foundations that are prerequisites for this. First and foremost, as we were saying, you have to be able to planche your way off the wall without bending the elbows, importantly. And for this, you're going to keep your hands pretty close to the wall. The closer to the wall, the easier. If you need to spice it up, bring your hands further from the wall. Then you need to be able to show yourself what you want to be able to be doing by default tomorrow, which is to take off without involving those shoulders. If that's hard, you can even stack something behind your shoulders to block you as you take off, to ensure that you're not planching. What we do in class is that somebody is standing behind you and blocks your shoulders to ensure that you're not using what you have learned to over-rely on. Once you can do that, we want you to be strong initially in the top and bottom position, the start and the end position, your planche and your normal alignment. Even better, spend time in the intermediate steps. So, if you planch a lot, chest to the wall, can you take off planching a bit less and take off still planching a bit less until you take off with the desired alignment? A transition from point A to point B in handstands is always comprised of intermediate steps, and we tend to brush over them, but really the gold is nested there in what you do between A and B. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Finally, once this becomes easy, you can expect yourself to not fall out of the corrective drills you will do off the wall. And don't be in a rush, because even doing that, you will still kick up in your normal planche until, through repetition, you end up extinguishing it, having proven to yourself that you can indeed balance, that you feel safe and in control and strong in this newfound, better stacked position. Hopefully that made sense. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment